This is the Morning Fan Line. The phone numbers are 455-1400. Cellcom customers call pound 1400, and our Norlight Telecommunications toll-free line is 1-888-THE-FAN-0. Now, more Fan Line on Sports Radio 14, The Fan.
Cloudy skies at 9:25. We're at 66 degrees. Doug Kauffman here. TC's on vacation today. Doug Ritchie will be joining us from Packer Camp in a couple of minutes here. And with us on the phone right now is Scott Crevier. And Scott is the author and owner of one of the great Packer homepages, Packer sites on the World Wide Web. And it's called, is it Right South End Zone? Is that correct, Scott?
That's the name.
Now, I'll tell you what, I first came across your internet homepage last year when I first went on the web, and I was just seeing what people had done out there. And as I looked over the weekend using one of the search engines, there are probably about 100 different Packer fan pages that are set up, but yours is rapidly becoming almost the authority, isn't it?
Well, I like to think so. I did pretty much probably what you did a year ago when I got in the web, I don't know, maybe about 4 years ago. Probably the very first thing I did was try to find Packer stuff. And there wasn't too much around back then. There were a couple of them, but that's kind of where I started mine. I had a lot of information on myself, just kind of sitting around in boxes and stuff, so I decided to put it together and put it on the web.
You had a reason, though, you needed stuff off the Packers, didn't you?
A reason?
Because you weren't here.
No, I wasn't. I was in Southern California. I just got back a couple weeks ago, but I spent the last 12 years in Orange County, California. And it was, I was scraping for information like a lot of people around the country and around the world. So, I decided to kind of help out and do what I can to make that information available.
So how is it that you went about starting this stuff? You have to be, I've seen your site, you have to be a little computer literate. Do you have your own company for this stuff now?
Well, I have my own company that I do this stuff on the side. I actually have what I call my day job, where I still work for a company in Southern California, working on web programming. And I have my own company where I've got a few customers of my own that I take care of. But you have to be a little bit computer literate. Really, your skill level really just determines how fancy and how tricky it gets. There's a lot of good pages out there that are pretty simple. You don't have to be a computer genius or nothing to put this stuff out. But I think you have to have more of a love for the Packers to put a Packer page out than you have to have computer skills.
Now, one of the more intriguing things that you have on your page that I noticed was people get to send in where they are on the waiting list, what number they are, and how quickly they've moved up.
Yeah, that's an idea I got. I think I started that in the middle of last season. I had a few people kept telling me where they were on the list. And it seems there's a lot of people that put that as a signature on their emails, too, what number they are on the list. And I thought, well, why are these people telling me this? It's a thing that we're all proud of. So I decided to start putting together a list now. I don't know how accurate it all is. I think there's a few bogus ones in there, but for the most part, it's a pretty good list, and it shows you, it's kind of neat to throw some names on there and actually see where some of these people are, because I would just have to guess off the top of my head, at least half of them are not in Wisconsin, at least the ones that are mine anyway. And it's interesting to see how many are there. It's grown. I got on the list myself 2 summers ago, and I'm 19,000 something now, and I think it's up over 32,000 now. I don't know. We're nuts.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something else.
So you're 12 years in Southern California. You would have obviously get some email discussion, some computer discussion with Packer fans from around the place. The fact that were you born and raised here?
Yeah, I'm originally from Green Bay.
So the fact that you were born and raised in Green Bay, did people from around the world, when they chat with you from Southern California, when you lived there, did they often think, wow, you've been there? You're from there?
Well, a lot of people actually were surprised to find out that I wasn't in Wisconsin. I'll let you in a little secret. I actually found it to be easier to concentrate on historical facts than it was to put current events out there. Like, there's a lot of good sites out there that have good reviews right after the game, which I don't put up there. But being so far away, I just found it a lot easier to concentrate on historical facts, and that's what most people thought when they see all the information and they're surprised that I'm not physically in Wisconsin somewhere. But the internet has made the world a little bit smaller, and it's made it easier for me to get my information too, and hopefully for everybody else.
Is it easy as setting up a homepage for yourself, setting up a website? on a personal level. Is it easy to do it, or does the league and the team come and visit you on occasion to make sure that you're not doing anything improper?
Well, I haven't had anybody contact me. I actually contacted the Packers a couple of years ago to talk about putting the helmet on the website. For the most part, I mean, I've actually talked to a couple of attorneys, too, just to figure out where I'm at. And the best rule of thumb I could say is as long as you're not pretending to be the Packers, or as long as you're not pretending to be the NFL, if you make it clear that you are yourself and you're providing information, I think they just view you just like a newspaper. I mean, the newspapers talk about the Packers and the stats. WDUZ talks about it. You guys talk about it all the time. So I'm pretty much doing the same thing, providing information to viewers just like anybody else. As long as you don't, try to misrepresent yourself, it's all right.
The rule is kind of as long as you don't profit on their property and their name as
right.
such, you can pretty much get away with it, right?
Right. Well, basically, I guess. I mean, that's why I decided to make sure that I came up with my own entity, and I've got my own identity and came up with the name, the South End Zone. So, then that was kind of towards that end of making sure that people knew who I was.
So you now live in De Pere. The question is, do you ever get tickets to the games?
Well, I've got a few in my family.
Nobody wants to give them up to you, though, do they?
We'll see. It's still a generation up yet. I'm waiting for him to come down to my generation yet and see where I end up. But there's a few.
Well, Scott, I've seen your site. It's really well done, and I know, just knowing the computers that I know, it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. I'm sure you get rewarded, though, in the sense that so many people from around the world who don't have access to what goes on with the Green Bay Packers appreciate what you have.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that. I do get a lot of good comments from around the world, and it's rewarding. It is a lot of work, but I love it.
Do you get stuff from people who are from Wisconsin, who are maybe in the armed services in Europe, or
Yeah, I've gotten email from everywhere. Germany. I got an email one time from a little camp of people somewhere in Antarctica. They claimed to be the northernmost Packer fans in the world. It's neat to get email from people so far away. To know that I'm actually helping them out and getting that information they need.
They want to find your spot on the web. What do they call up? What's your address?
SouthEndzone.com.
And there are no spaces in there?
No spaces, no dashes, no nothing. Just SouthEndzone.com.
All right. Hey, Scott, nice talking to you, and we'll talk with you again in the future, all right?
Thanks a lot, Doug.
All right, Scott Crevier. He lives in De Pere now, lived in Southern California for 12 years, and if you're ever on the Internet, that is actually something that take a look at it. This is a guy who's put an awful lot of time and effort into it, and it is a pretty good deal. If this is Doug, I'm going to have Doug. Why don't you call me on the main request line, Doug? We'll talk to you there, because we're having a problem with this piece of equipment. We're at 9:33 here at Sports Radio 14. This is The Fan.